You're going to be dumbfounded because I was. We're getting a late Friday episode because I've been waiting to see how everything transpired today of what we witnessed with Donald Trump kiboshing any trade talks with Canada due to the stupidity of Mr. Doug Ford. And obviously, that's been all the conversation. It's been on the conversation on the American network. It's been obviously all the conversation on the Canadian networks. And, maybe a lesson being learned if you are a Canadian politician. Well, some really stupid stuff happened today that I'm going to update you on. And man, it's just going to leave you scratching your head. And baby, I can't wait to get into all of it with you. Welcome to the Elevate Podcast. I'm your host, Josh. If you get any value from today's episode, take the time to like, share, and subscribe. It helps us to grow. It helps us to get to new audiences, and it's going to help people see that there is something different than what the mainstream media has to offer. Now, let's get into our first story, shall we? So obviously, you can tell in my tone right now, I am beside myself. I'm wicked frustrated and annoyed by what I'm currently witnessing. When I left off with this morning's episode, I said, Trump needs to be careful. If the stop and starts keep happening the way they are, and he leaves no hope for Canada to get a deal with the United States, it's going to push Canada into the arms of China. That's just how this is going to go. And whether you like it or not, it's just welcome to politics, especially when it comes to geopolitics. That's where things are at. Our liberal government stinks. They don't want to build conventional energy. They only want to try and push this green, new energy future. That's all they care for. So if they can easily replace what America's been doing with another big player, then they'll do that. They'll do that with China. And no sooner after I released that episode this morning, Mark Carney gets on the tarmac and says this.
The importance of distinguishing things we can control and things we can't control. We can't control the trade policy of the United States. We recognize that that policy has fundamentally changed from the policy in the 1980s, 1990s, 2000s. And it's a situation where the United States has tariffs against every one of their trading partners to different degrees. And it's in that context that our officials, my colleagues, have been working with their American colleagues on detailed, constructive negotiations, discussions on specific transactions, specific sectors, steel, aluminum, and energy. And a lot of progress has been made. And we stand ready to pick up on that progress and build on that progress when the Americans are ready to have those discussions, because it will be for the benefit of workers in the United States, workers in Canada, and families in both of our countries. Now, what we can control, absolutely, is how we build here at home. And that's the focus of Budget 2025, generational investment here in Canada. And what we can also control, or at least heavily influence, is developing new partnerships and opportunities, including with the economic giants of Asia, which is the focus of this trip.
As I said, Carney's very intertwined and very close to China. We covered it leading up to the election. He's done business dealings, taken money out of the Bank of China, this, that, the other. He's incredibly intertwined with them. And he is just looking for an opportunity to be able to have political reasoning to do deals with China. Because he's a globalist. We know this. What do globalists like? Trying to find maximum deals with the maximum amount of players across the globe. So right now, it doesn't politically work for Mark Carney to do a deal with China. But if he can paint it and show that Trump is just impossible to deal with, we're going to have to limit our trade with the United States, and we're going to have to maximize our deals and our deals with China. That's what he's going to do. That's what this signaled. Be ready for more of that. And that's what I'm saying. As the rest of the West is decoupling from China, we are pushing ourselves more into China's arms. I don't like to see it. I don't want to see it. And I'm going to keep putting the heat on our government so that doesn't happen, because Carney wants it. Look what he's been doing. He's been already getting caught up in conflicts of interest already with some plans and deals he wants to do here in Canada with Brookfield and all that. Already. If he can open up a new market and getting deals done with China, Brookfield can then capitalize on that side as well. Brookfield can already capitalize with the United States. You open up deals with China, well, Brookfield can capitalize on that end as well. That's what he wants to do. He's just waiting for a politically convenient time that he can reason that to the Canadian people and go ahead and do it. That's what this was. So that's what I'm talking about, where the push and pull has got to be very cautious here. And that is a warning to Donald Trump. If he wants to keep from Canada from entertaining and bringing China even closer to us on his northern border, he's got to take that into account, unfortunately. But Donald Trump doing what he did caught the attention of Doug Ford. Mess around and find out. Doug Ford is not a really wise person. He's not really thinking ahead of the game. He's just thinking emotionally. He's thinking in anger. How can I stick it to Donald Trump? That's all he's thinking about. Now we're going to do this ad and we're going to just show it on all the networks down there. And that ticked off Donald Trump enough that, well, he ended all trade negotiations with Canada. And Doug Ford said this: our intention was always to initiate a conversation about the kind of economy that Americans want to build and the impact of tariffs on workers and businesses. We've achieved our goal, having reached U.S. audiences at the highest levels. I've directed my team to keep putting our message in front of Americans over the weekend so that we can air a commercial during the first 2 World Series games. In speaking with Prime Minister Carney, Ontario paused its U.S. advertising campaign effective Monday so that trade talks can resume. The people elected our government to protect Ontario, our workers, businesses, families, and communities. That's exactly what I'm doing. Like I said earlier today, Canada and the U.S. are neighbors, friends, and allies. We're so much stronger when we work together. Let's work together to build Fortress AmCan and make our two countries stronger, more prosperous, and more secure. Message sent and received from Mr. Doug Ford. However, he's still going to run the commercial throughout the weekend. I'll stop on Monday. As per orders from Mark Carney, didn't say that, but essentially that's what happened. I'm going to pause them on Monday. He is being made to look like an absolute fool. Steel and aluminum. We're coming close to getting a deal done. Energy was getting close to having a deal done, allegedly. And he blew it up. He blew it up. But this is the thing. So I'm going to show you this. Fox News did a little bit of a coverage today and was talking to one of Trump's economic advisors. And he was kind of echoing the sentiments of Donald Trump and where he's really at emotionally right now. And this is what he had to say.
Canada. Here is the Truth Social posted last night. Canada cheated and got caught. They fraudulently took a big buy ad saying that Ronald Reagan did not like tariffs, and actually he loved tariffs for our country and its national security. I've seen the video going back to the 80s from the Presidential Library. What's with this latest spat, and how far does it go?
Well, I don't think that anything that the President truthed yesterday is about just one thing. The fact is that the negotiations with the Canadians have not been very collegial. They've not been going well. I think the president's very frustrated. He wants a great deal with Canada, just like he wants a great deal with Mexico. But a sign of how difficult the Canadians have been is that we're now kind of negotiating with the Mexicans all by themselves rather than looking at all three.
I'm sorry to jump in here. I'm just trying to get nothing. I got one more thing to get to here, and they're trying to wrap me. Was that a point of negotiation that we saw last night? Is that what that is?
I think the president's very frustrated with Canada, and he has a right to be, and I think that's what that is.
Okay.
Trump is just annoyed with Canada, frustrated, and quite frankly, we've been pills to deal with from the get-go on this. We've gotten into our feelings. We went all Team Canada, fight the man, and just not engaging in diplomacy at all when it was desperately needed. We've had so many false starts. As I said, Doug Ford threatening to shut off the power to America or New York. And you had Carney trying to impose tariffs. You had Carney trying to impose tariffs that were on things that were covered under CUSMA, USMCA. There was just a lot of nonsense that's been going on. And that kind of sums up to me that Trump is kind of done with all the nonsense. So, as I said, Mark Carney has a conversation with Ford, pull the ads. He says, okay, I'll do it after the weekend. Trump is obviously frustrated, but we go to the other coast. And what does David Eby do? What does he post today? And today of all days, at 12:50 my time, 11:50 Eastern, a.m., he writes this: Americans need to hear how tariffs raise prices. We're making ads to defend British Columbia and Canada's forestry workers. Our wood faces higher U.S. tariffs than Russia. Absurd. Truth will win. Are you kidding me, man? Are you kidding me? These premiers are absolute idiots. I'll say it right straight up. You are a moron. Let me be clear. And don't take my politeness for kindness. You want to hear that, David Eby? You refuse to get pipelines going. You refuse to support the lifting of the tanker ban. You want to fight Daniel Smith tooth and nail, spread misinformation about what the situation is. You see what Doug Ford did, blows up a Canadian trade deal, and you turn around saying, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the same thing. Are you out of your mind? No, someone go check on David Eby. This is one of the most preposterous things I'm seeing from a premier right now. You just witnessed what happened last night, the fallout during this morning, and you went and posted that saying, yeah, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to be straight with you right now. All these politicians need to lose their jobs. Straight up. Eby needs to go. Ford needs to go. Carney, he needs to go. They can't seem to get their crap together. The only person who's had literally no issues with Donald Trump, no problems, avoided substantial tariffs, is Daniel Smith. The only person. You think you'd take notes? No. We're going to keep doubling down on a strategy that's getting us smoked. What are you doing? We have projects that we have going here. We got projects that can be supported. I'm done with the nonsense, man. Get real. Grow up. How about you start taking that same energy and applying it to China on your shores? How about you start taking that energy right now? How about you start cracking down on what's happening in your province when it comes to organized crime? When it comes to the fentanyl precursors? Oh, but that's a federal job. Yeah, you can do something too. But you refuse to. If you refuse to crack down on the money laundering, you refuse. You ignore it. Oh, but Josh, it's a federal issue. Yes, it is a federal issue. But do you know what? Eby doesn't say a dang thing about it either. He could put pressure on the federal government. He also could take some steps on his end too on the provincial level. He could. He won't. He doesn't. Because he benefits from it. And he benefits from tension with the United States. Yeah. Remember what I said at the beginning of the show? Drive Carney further into China? Eby wants that. If we can make enemies of America, well, I can get more intertwined with China. Eby benefits from that too. Dude, it's Friday night, man. Game's about to start in an hour. Maybe I can cool off more then, but that's it for me. Have yourselves a good one. I'm out.